Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Friday the 9th of August. So this will be the last video for a week. Sorry, I was going to do it live today, but things have changed a little bit and I can't manage that today. So here is the recording of such. So that's live on YouTube. I'm doing it live in our trading room just in case the trading room people are thinking that's a bit strange. It's the way he's talking to us. Is this a recording? No. Okay, so looking at the euro dollar first, daily wise, we're carrying on in this consolidation phase. Consolidation is a funny old thing. In an upward market or downward market, you get consolidation, and you expect then it will follow the direction. So we had this consolidation early last week. This week's a bit of a weird one. It was wedging. It was a bit of a wedge yesterday. I think I pointed out. It may be breaking to the downside. I mean, the bigger picture here still is a bit gloomy and bearish. I mean, we had 3 up days, and then we've consolidated. Now, some would argue, well, that's consolidation and upward movement. We should continue to see upward movement. I think these markets just haven't got a clue where to go. Is the reality of things, and that we could just end up more chopped than anything else. Coming down to a 60-minute chart, it doesn't really. It just really shows you the fact that it's not even getting apart from Tuesday even, Monday and Tuesday. I'll rephrase that. Okay, so for the last 2 days we haven't got the R1 or the S1. Now generally the market will run and it will catch one or the other. There's over an 80% chance of either the R1 or S1 being hit. They haven't been hit. Well, maybe the S1 will be today. But in the way it's going, it's trying its best. It may give us a bit more movement. I expected when we saw the move earlier in the week there for more of a potential rollover, but that wasn't to come. And so I've really stood away from it, and it's the trading range isn't great. As I say, to me it does look like there's potential more downside, but where to? Well, the S1's not that far away. We're sitting in such a pinched range. It may push through that then and run down towards its 60-minute 200. If it does start post 8 o'clock, pushing down towards that way, I will take a look at that. It's just looking, it's suggesting it's short of its pivot on here. Yeah, it's air-kissed the pivot on my other platform that I'm looking at. So it's air-kissed the daily platform. So it may just daily pivot. So it may just roll over. Okay, not the most conclusive of analysis because there's not the most conclusive markets. It's a bit like the pound here. It's not really continued selling off anymore, but at the same time it can't get much of a bounce in. There are the occasional movements that I've managed to get one in between yesterday where I just caught the an oversold element there in the afternoon, but for now again it just pretty much sums this market up. I would rather be short on it in now it's broken and confirmed a lower high in there. Up until that point we were seeing almost higher lows all the way through, but now it's sort of confirmed a lower high in there, and I'm just sort of sitting and waiting this morning to see, and this is probably what I'll look for, but I've got to wait for the news to come out. There is news out this morning, and just to see if we break down this sort of area here. If we start breaking down, I'm a bit more interested in running it down towards yesterday's lows in that S1. We do have GDP data out, so they've got nothing for the euro. We call PPI on the US dollar, which might affect the euro at 130, but aside of that, well, that may have a bit more zing today, but aside of that there's nothing euro wise. UK wise we've got GDP figures coming out in manufacturing production, both 2 GDPs. There's a monthly figure which seems to have not a lot of an effect, but a more significant the quarterly GDP, which is expected to come out flat on. So you've just got to watch that. I mean, there may be a trade trigger before 9:30 news, and I like a look at, but got to tread carefully with the news coming out. Okay, dollar yen. Dollar yen, we was just discussing this. It looks like it's got again another one that looks like it wants to continue pushing down, but it just it's slowing up here, consolidating, and it's not overly convincing at the moment either way. And again, it's got a bit of a sort of a wedge pattern sort of formed there, which a breakout of that may give us a more decisive sort of bit of price action. But for now, it's just slowing down as we reach the end of the week. Nothing really else in terms of getting into a trade there. Again, there is the potential for it to roll off towards its S1. But I think I just need to watch post 8 o'clock. I don't think there's a lot of pips in it, so it doesn't really appeal to me too much this morning. Aussie dollar. Let's have a look from the daily perspective first, and well, we're putting a bullish pivot swing there. Hasn't triggered that yet, but it's I mentioned yesterday the potential for it to run up to its weekly pivot. Well, it's air kissed that. It's not possibly going to run up to it this morning, but it's not many pips away from that now. It's just on this 4-hourly, just closed above its 4-hourly 50, which may suggest a bit more bullishness coming through there. Momentum's still ticking along slowly but solidly. Spiky through the Asian session there. We had the Reserve Bank of Australia governor speaking. It's not really, I mean, it's created volatility during that period, but obviously he hasn't put the markets into scare mode, so looking positive at the moment. It's air kissed its daily pivot. Maybe the R1, as I say, maybe that weekly pivot is yet to be touched, and probability is still good for that, and it looks okay. So maybe more upside. I'm looking at that as a sort of intraday target. It may carry on pushing through a little bit more, the Aussie. And finally, the Canadian dollar. Canadian dollar pivot, bearish pivot swing on the dailies here. It's just not really come to much. It's again, I looked at the order book for this. It's got buy orders everywhere. Buy orders below, maybe giving it a bit of support, with a little bit of sell orders down to 32.10 sort of area, which is not far off of. But beyond that, there's all buy support, and then there's buy orders above. So we might just see it pushing up at some point. It does have the daily pivot above there, which may draw it upwards of those orders, particularly if the price starts picking up a bit of momentum to the upside. There we go. Daily pivot's high probability. It's one of the few that hasn't hit the pivot this morning. Maybe it will do later. So that's it for today at the moment. As I say, watch out for the news. The pound at 9:30. Yeah, that's it. Have a great day. I'll be back in just over a week's time. Take care.